Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Eric Morton, and here's the news for September 17th, 2020. You heard it here first. The Halloween Horror Nights lives on. It has now been officially announced that 2 haunted houses will be offered this year at Universal Studios Florida as part of the modified Halloween offerings at the resort. The 2 heart-pounding haunted houses in Universal Studios Florida, they will be Revenge of the Tooth Fairy and Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. They'll both be open to guests, and for the first time ever, they are included with daytime park admission. Virtual line will be available for the haunted houses, and when you're on property, you just use the Universal Orlando Resort app to select a return time for your group. Do note that while these offerings are officially on a test run from Saturday, September 19th through Sunday, September 20th, Premier Pass holders who have registered will be able to attend a special preview starting tomorrow, September 18th. At this time, no further details have been released on future dates for the houses. The descriptions for each of the houses are as follows. Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. We belong dead. Those are the last words of Frankenstein's monster on that fateful night when his bride rejected him. But his end was her beginning. Now the bride is stepping out of the shadows to bring him back. And there's nothing she won't do as she sharpens her brilliance by experimenting on unsuspecting victims. I think that's you. Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. The innocent traditions of the Tooth Fairy hide a darker ritual. All children must give up their baby teeth to the goblinesque tooth fairies or pay a gruesome price. Step into an old manor that has been overrun by yellow-clawed fiends who extract teeth by force. It's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yeah, don't miss this one. It sounds really great. It's like a visit to the dentist office. Not only is Universal Studios Florida opening up for 2 haunted houses, though, the guests will also be allowed to wear costumes and trick or treat. Costumes will be allowed at both Universal Studios Florida and Universal's Islands of Adventure with extensive guidelines. So do your research. The costumes must be family friendly, and guests may be asked to remove a costume and change into something more appropriate or exit the park if their costume does not follow the guidelines. Costumes may not include real or fake weapons, sexual content, or gory content, among several other restrictions. Before deciding on a costume, read the full costume guidelines on the Universal Orlando Resort website. Trick-or-treating will be happening at Islands of Adventure. Grab a free trick-or-treat bag for your little one and go door-to-door collecting tasty treats from participating retail stores this weekend. But first, you've got to find them. So keep a lookout. They will have pumpkin stickers marking each location. Trick-or-treating is for guests 12 years of age and younger who must be with an adult to participate. Each guest will receive 1 trick-or-treat bag and get 1 fill per trick-or-treat location. Guests must use the provided treat bag. Terms and conditions can be found on the Universal Orlando Resort website. Signs have been installed for the 2 Halloween Horror Nights 2020 houses, though they are covered by the black curtains. How ominous. The full signage will be revealed this weekend for a test run on the houses. There are 2 food trucks that are also parked near the houses, and the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store is nearby as well. The trucks are covered in Universal Orlando Resort icons. For more about the houses and Universal Orlando Resort's other Halloween offerings, make sure to head over to our website. Some Universal Orlando Resort attractions are now loading every row of a ride vehicle instead of leaving empty rows between parties for social distancing. On Skull Island, Reign of Kong, plexiglass dividers have been added. They are between the loading gates and they're between each row of seats inside the ride vehicles. Unfortunately, this seems to be causing some issues with the visual elements being reflected onto the plexiglass panels themselves during the ride. We also saw every row filled on the Incredible Hulk coaster, although some seats were empty as parties still get their own rows. Team members are filling every row on Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure as well, where the seats are already more than 6 feet apart. So far, we've only seen this happening at Universal's Islands of Adventure. Filling ride vehicles closer to capacity could cut some wait times at the most popular attractions, and each row still only holds one party, and guests are still required to wear face masks on the attractions. Announced on September 11th, Universal Orlando Resort has blocked out team member complimentary passes on Saturdays and Sundays from September 19th all the way through October 31st. This is probably due to the 2 new haunted houses and the increased popularity of the park. Team members are still able to get into the parks, but they will not be able to bring guests for free. This only applies to new ticket orders. Universal will still honor the tickets of team members and their guests who had already placed ticket orders for this time period prior to the announcement. These blockout dates apply to Universal Studios Florida, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. Universal Orlando Resort filed a mass layoff warning with the state of Florida earlier this month, indicating that 5,389 employees will remain on furlough indefinitely due to the ongoing effects of COVID-19. According to the Orlando Sentinel, Universal Orlando Resort's Senior Vice President of Human Resources, Scott Lefert, stated that he did not expect the furloughs to be permanent, but a full recovery may not be possible until well into 2021. Among those on extended furloughs are 104 actors, 416 attraction attendants, 284 cashiers, 450 cooks, and 40 special effects technicians. Our friend BioReconstruct on Twitter has shared aerial images of raptors in place on the Velocicoaster in Universal's Islands of Adventure. We saw 2 of these raptors being lowered into place and previously saw 1 in an aerial view, but now all 3 of them are visible. The raptors are surrounding the track but are still wrapped in protective plastic. A ride vehicle that resembles a Jurassic Park Jeep is also visible on the track at the top of the photos. The coaster's track is complete, so now only set dressing and testing remain before it can potentially open. If you've grown tired of seeing wrapped up raptors, we've got some other plastic wrapped announcements for you. They're a new addition to Velocicoaster, and this time they are the covered ride vehicles, which have since been placed on the track. We were able to spot the ride vehicles on the exit to Pterodon flyers this week, complete with the InGen logo spotted on the outer plastic cover. InGen, of course, stands for International Genetics Incorporated, or the bioengineering startup company founded by John Hammond in the Jurassic Park franchise. As most of you know, this company performed research to recreate extinct animals with the aim to clone those creatures and introduce them in a theme park. This plan ultimately went awry, however, and in the aftermath, InGen was acquired by Masrani Global, which used InGen's revolutionary technology to begin development of Jurassic World. Okay, enough of the history lesson. Just go to our website and check out new pictures of a roller coaster that does not exist. In preparation for the eventual reopening of Universal Studios Hollywood, signs reminding guests to wear face coverings over both their nose and mouth have been added to the upper lot of Universal Studios Hollywood. It's located behind the park entrance. In addition, hand sanitizing stations have been set up along the high-traffic entryway to the park. Presumably, they're also located in other high-traffic areas of the park. Signage has also been added, indicating one-way guest traffic through guest relations and Starbucks. Also, following a similar move to Universal Orlando, the Secret Life of Pets attraction has been configured to utilize Universal's virtual line system. This system is designed to allow Universal to control capacity and to promote social distancing while providing guests with a reduced wait time. Universal Studios Hollywood has been closed due to COVID-19 pandemic since March 14th, and a formal reopening date has not yet been announced. CityWalk Hollywood began a phased reopening on July 2nd. As we know, Universal Parks and Resorts have suffered a 94% loss in revenue this quarter due to closures. And although Universal Orlando Resort is reopened, Hollywood has not. California Governor Gavin Newsom indicated that progress is being made towards reopening California's theme parks, but no official word has been announced on when this will happen or when we can expect any news on something happening. Universal Studios Hollywood recently announced in an email to affected team members that due to this, quote, unforeseen continued impact of COVID-19 on our operations, some of our employees will be laid off starting September 11th, 2020. The effective employees were laid off as of September 11th, with their last official day being September 10th, whether they worked or not. These layoffs are expected to be permanent. Universal Studios Hollywood said the positions can be recalled for up to 2 years after the date of the layoff. Way to pick a date, guys. We were extremely disappointed when news broke in late June that Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Japan would be delayed indefinitely. However, some good news. Construction and testing in the land have resumed in the past several days, as you can see on our last construction post in the video by, well, I don't know his name because it is in Japanese characters, but this guy in YouTube posted videos, and we get our first look of the first full motion preview of the Mushroom Kingdom portion of the land. It looks incredible. Super Nintendo World is scheduled to open at Universal Studios Japan later this year. It is also slated to open at Universal Studios Hollywood in late 21 or 2022. Universal Orlando Resort recently debuted a new horror throwbacks collection with the first set of merchandise featuring Chance. You may remember Chance from Halloween Horror Nights 26. Now, even more horror throwbacks have arrived, and they are featuring the beautiful Terra Queen from Halloween Horror Nights 15. Celebrate a horror throwback with a new black shirt featuring this Terra Queen and the Halloween Horror Nights 15 artwork for $28. The sleeve says Universal Orlando Halloween Horror Nights Horror Throwbacks. Magnets such as this one in this collection for Halloween Horror Nights 15 make great inexpensive souvenirs retailing for $8. No Halloween Horror Nights merchandise collection would be complete though without socks. Am I right? That's what the teleprompter says. These horror throwback socks feature the Terra Queen from HHN 15 and retail for $20. We found these items available in the Tribute store as well as the Universal Studios store at the front of the park. Need some more face masks for your collection? Well, Universal Orlando Resort has you covered with 2 new Universal Studios branded masks. Both masks are blue with the Universal Studios logo all over it. One mask is darker with a more subtle logo pattern. The other mask is checkered blue and white. Each mask is $6 or 4 for $20 at Universal Studios Florida. If you're looking for more themed masks, there's always that Jurassic Park and Jurassic World option. Those were released earlier this month. You may have learned about those on last week's show. For more information on these stories and more, head on over to universalparksnewstoday.com. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Universal Parks News Today on YouTube for more great content, click the bell for more notifications, and make sure to hit select all notifications so you never miss an episode of News Today with Universal Parks News Today. For UPNT, this is Eric Morton saying the future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. Goodbye.